Call on the Honourable Member for Douglas South, Mrs Maultby.
Mr Speaker. I would like to thank the Honourable Member for Arby Castle and Malou for bringing this motion today. It has been a lingering threat for some time, and although I find disruption to the business of the day deeply frustrating, it is probably better to have this debate to settle the matter so we can all just move on. In 2021, when the Honourable Member for Ayr and Michael was elected by the majority of this House, I accepted but did not affirm the democratic decision and pledged that I would work with the Chief Minister and the government he formed for the betterment of the island. The reason my vote was not given to Mr Cannon on that day was because I believed that my policy principles more closely aligned with Dr Allinson, and after working with him I still believe this to be true. I'm almost sure if my name had been on the ballot, don't worry, it's not happening, but I wouldn't be counting on the vote of the Ayr and Michael MHK either. I strongly believe that we fundamentally stand on very different mandate from the people, and that's okay. It's difficult to say this as I don't think it's helpful to always rehash the same view that I had 3 years ago, but if the motion before the House today was to elect a new Chief Minister and the Honourable Member Mr Cannon was inclined or crackers enough to put his name forward again, my choice would still not be for him. However, I want to be clear that this is not entirely a reflection on his ability to govern, because, in my opinion, until you've done the job yourself, you can't really pass judgment on someone else who has at least had the gumption to put their name forward and stand. I do believe I share the same priorities as the Chief Minister, but I do not always share the same policy direction and how to achieve those priorities. In fact, we're sometimes starkly different. Parliament is a wonderful place that brings together people from a wide range of backgrounds and viewpoints. There is no other workplace where you would get such an extreme mix of individuals who are in the main passionate and caring, but who all think they've got the right answers. In the real world, I would never have crossed paths with some of you, honourable members. And now I have the privilege to work alongside of you. I have friends who tell me that they could never be an MHK because they couldn't stand the politics of it all. But I have deliberately taken a path in this place that takes me as far away as possible from destructive negativity and focuses on what government can do and is doing well. Without a credible alternative today, my view of working with the chosen one is difficult to change, and I would like to align myself with the comments made by my Honourable Member for Douglas North, Mr Wannenberg, in this respect. I was elected to serve the people fairly and not just my own ideologies. However painful or hard to say, it is frustrating and it really does pain me to say that. Now, Mr Speaker, there have been many times over the last 3 years that has made me question the judgment of the Chief Minister, and recent events have only added to my concerns. In some ways, I feel that the Chief Minister is protected from losing this motion because of the team he has built around him. I'm sure it's not easy to bring together people and form a council of ministers, but there are some ministers that he has appointed that I have genuine trust in, and I believe he has appointed people that do challenge his views. And for that, I have to respect him. Mr Speaker, I have just as many reasons to vote for this motion as I do to vote against. And my settled position has been very difficult to reach. The fact remains he is not my first choice. However, as my favoured leader is not named within this motion as a credible alternative, what choice do I really have as a responsible member of this House? From listening to members today, it is clear that voting against this motion is not a full-blown endorsement of Alfred Cannon as Chief Minister. I feel the macho reaction by the Chief Minister to the threat of this motion of "bring her on" has a part to play in the feeling of disappointment and has no place in this House. When will he take responsibility for the feelings of discontent being expressed today? Be humble, express some regret in the events that have led up to today. It's never easy or too late to say, I may have got some things wrong. Unlike my honourable friend, Miss Farragher, who has resigned her position in government, a decision, by the way, I fully respect and believe was completely the right thing to do for the party members that we also represent in this place. I am in 2 departments. I have come to learn over the last 3 years that the position of influence I do have, especially as someone with my ideologies, can really not afford not to be in. A position only strengthened given the recent speculations and resignation of the former Health and Social Care Minister. Once you've seen firsthand that the decisions on that infamous table and that are being mulled over by honourable members, to walk away now would be letting my constituents who put their trust in me to deal with this and fight against some of these challenges would be letting them down. You can't block anything like the things I've seen from the backbenchers. I disagree with Mr. Thomas. You can try, you can even get some positive outcomes, but nothing compares to the day in and day out first-hand experiences I have now gained. I'm not saying I know best, I'm just saying that the personal experience I have, I can attest to. The voice at the table has and will always have the biggest and best chance to make a difference. Mr. Speaker, now more than ever, we need to work together, represent our constituents, represent our views, but most importantly, represent ourselves with dignity, respecting one another, and the diversity we bring to this Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the Chief has a habit of looking directly in the eyes of members when he makes a speech, and does not address his comments to the Chair, as we're all supposed to. I don't like it. I find it deeply uncomfortable. I'd much prefer him to do as we all try to do through you. Today, however, he has hardly lifted his gaze from the floor. So, in replicating the style of the Chief Minister, I will address my final comments directly to him. For the first time, I can see that these words that have been spoken in this place have made an impact. Ministers, who are normally very measured and reasonable, said that they would leave Coman. It's just too big to ignore. I do believe this motion has hurt you. But guess what, Chief? It's hurt us all. However, you now have the power to heal the wounds opened up during this past year. Your ministers today have showed great loyalty to you. In a step to return the favour to them, you could at the very least give honourable members expressing their disappointment today a smidgen of the respect that has been shown to you. Not just lip service, but real, genuine authenticity. Please, for the sake of our nation, show you can make amends. Show me you are listening. Go, Maultby.